Hi, my name is Zachary Meranto. I am doing my project on racism on the internet, in particular social media. So to get started, what it is obviously it's just use of hate speech, whether it's some form of racism, some form of gender bias, or just any kind of way that you show some bias towards a certain large group of people on the internet, specifically. So in terms of the areas in the world that it affects, it really affects everyone because racism is something that is global. There's not just one part of the world that's racist. For example, recently, as of about last month, um, Chelsea FC player from the English Premier League, Reece James, he was experiencing racial slurs said to him in his direct messages on Instagram and in his comment section because of one bad game that he had. Um, So he took it upon himself to show people that this is what it's really like. It's not just I'm professional, I'm loved by everyone. He still receives racist messages just like a lot of people do at this point in the world. Um, Whether that person thought they could get away with it because they're a celebrity and they won't see it, that's something that maybe needs to be checked up on. Um, but also, it was reported back in 2017 in Brazil that there was over 63,000 cases of hate speech on the internet, and one third of those cases were racism, and 81% of those cases were towards black women. So it's not just affecting the United States, it's not just Europe, it's South America too, particularly Brazil in this case. Um, Possible solutions to this, there's no, it's hard to protect everything that is said on the internet because it's just such a free, you have such a freedom of speech on the internet to do whatever you want. But I think what social media companies could do is impose some kind of censory uh, on certain comments. So if there are comments and certain words that are picked up as racist or phrases that are picked up as being racist, they can block that out so that way, or they can deny that message and have a system to set that up. I know, for example, on Xbox, um, if somebody tries to send you a rude message or a hateful message, it'll block the message unless you approve to see it. So social media companies like Instagram, like Twitter, like Facebook, they can do something similar in that case where have a they can put a little like sensory or like a block on so that way in order for somebody to see these kind of messages, they have to approve that these messages are allowed to be sent to them. Um, from the United States standpoint, the United States is no different than anywhere else in the world when it comes to racism. There's racism all over the place, and there's a lot of African American or just African celebrities that are famous in the United States that receive similar things almost daily. If you go to honestly, any player's comment sections, there's players like LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, who all receive these kinds of messages directly, and there's likes on these posts and people commenting saying like going at these people for their racist actions. So for me specifically as a sports management major, it affects sports management because um, there's a lot of black athletes in the world. Um, and so as a manager, especially if you're running a professional sports business or a collegiate team, um, you have to make sure you're protecting your athletes and making sure that they are okay and they are not feeling like they are being divided from the rest of the world because of their race. So I think one thing about your team is you have to make sure that they're a team, that they're a family. So from a sports management perspective, it's making sure that these kind of things don't reach your team to make sure that your team stays together. And if something was to occur, make sure that the players, not just the African American players or the African players, uh, whether it's Caucasian players, Asian players, make sure that all the players on the team are stepping up and supporting each other in these kinds of situations, making a clear statement from the team that this type of behavior is not accepted amongst our fan base, amongst our players, or anybody. As a matter of fact, um, this obviously also relates to diversity because racism is mainly spread because of differences in diversity beliefs and like differences in how people look at diversity. Ethics is also another one because on one hand, somebody might feel that it's ethical to send a racist comment when in reality it's not, or some people feel that it's not. I believe obviously it's not ethical to send racist comments. Um, and then justice also, same thing. Um, there's no way you can justify sending a racist message to someone just because of their skin color. And obviously, there's people that do feel justified, but at the end of the day, that's not the case. So, um, really, all four of the major core curriculum at Canisius apply to this because they're all have to do with with this topic and how racism is not just spread from just global awareness issues. It's from diversity issues, different ethical beliefs, and different justices or justified reasons amongst different people.